What's up, everybody? It is your girl, the Glow Coach here, and I am back with another episode of the Biz and Breakthroughs podcast. Super excited to have the beautiful Kierra Wilson here with us today. She's a graphic designer creating all of the amazing things for the Instagram girlies, honey, or for your website or for wherever you need to create some content and have some really good visuals and graphic design. I'm excited to have her here because, one, I do believe that when you're building a brand, it has to be consistent, but I also believe that it should look good. Okay. And a lot of us struggle with kind of like piecing this stuff together, understanding how to really outsource, understanding what it looks like to do these things called creating content and how to keep up with everything without being overwhelmed. So I'm grateful to have you here today to talk about this. And I know that you also work and are also doing entrepreneurship. So I'm curious to hear a little bit about your backstory of what even got you to the point of being a graphic designer.
So, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here as well. Pretty much how I got started into graphic design. Let's take it back to college. So, I got my bachelor's in business administration. And while taking my courses there, I fell in love with marketing. So, post graduation, I took a digital marketing course where I discovered that I was interested in social media management. So I got certified in social media management. I found a job that had a local business that needed a social media manager. And with that, I discovered I need to know like the fundamentals of what graphic design is in order to fulfill my job. So I looked into it. I didn't want to invest in anything because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I want to stick to it. I didn't have the funds. So Canva was actually something that I found first and tried and obviously stuck with. So it started with that. And around the same time, I actually had an online crochet boutique called Kierra Crochet. So as a little mini CEO, I had to figure out how to do my own branding, from business cards to logos to websites to social media posts. So I was trying to basically manage both of those accounts at the same time while developing my knowledge of graphic design and what branding is and what should it mean. And eventually it just kind of snowballed into me assisting my friends for free, just for the experience, until I got comfortable enough to actually offer the services to other people.
I think that's so cool. I always tell people, I know everybody that listens to podcasts has heard me say it 110 times, but I always think it's so dope how God will just take you through this transition and how we don't really know where it's going to lead us until
Right.
we get there. So I think it's interesting. And being certified in social media, I didn't even know that was a thing, honey. I think that's so cool. And I love the fact that you really had the experience of what it looks like as a business owner to have to create branding, not just doing it for someone else, but like literally having to do it for yourself, the obsessing over every detail, the like, man, it gotta be right, it gotta look good and all of that stuff. So I definitely know that you understand exactly how people feel on, that entrepreneurship side of like, man, I want to put this thing out to the world, but I don't want it to look jacked up. So I
Right.
think that's so cool. How is it? Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with like balancing work and entrepreneurship. And some people feel like they can't do both. Fortunately for me, when I jumped into entrepreneurship, I never had to do anything else unless I just chose to. So I don't really know what it's like to have to balance a full-time job and run my business at the same time. Like, what does that look like for you? And how do you manage to like really get in everything that you need to do to really build your brand and still show up for your 9 to 5?
So it's not easy.
Like, we
Just
just gonna
flat
keep
out,
it
it
real.
is not
Not easy,
easy.
y'all.
When I started my entrepreneurial journey with my clothing line, I was working two jobs at the time, a part-time job and technically a full-time job. And so and crocheting is very time consuming. So I was even more stressed back then because I only have so many like gaps or windows to get something done. Back then that was super stressful. But as I transitioned from that business to being a graphic designer, it was still a struggle because I was working retail, right? Retail, there's no steady set schedule. It could change from this week to next week. And it was just very touch and go. So I was exhausted. I would either wake up early in the morning to do some work before my shift or even practice my craft because I had to do that first before I even got comfortable taking on clients. So it's like I'll wake up early, go to work. On my lunch break, am I studying? I'll study my craft, go back to work, go home, stay up late at night to get something done. And it was a continuous cycle. And something I want to mention is really important that we know when to take breaks. If we don't know to consciously take a break, our body is going to tell us.
Right.
And that has happened to me multiple times. So I think I've gotten into a more healthier routine of being able to separate time management. That's super key. I feel like even if you're just a full-time entrepreneur and don't have a 9 to 5 like I do, now I work a full-time job where it's Monday through Friday. I know exactly what time I'm going to work every day, what time I'm coming home. What is it that I can manage? When I come home from work, I could take on maybe one small task or focus strictly on, behind the scenes of my own brand and business. And then on the weekends, I completely focus on creating content for my clients or my other social media platforms. So I try to split it off like that and then try to do planning on my lunch break. So as soon as I'm home, I'm on go.
Mm-hmm. That makes complete sense. I mean, time management is crucial no matter what you're doing. And I'm glad that you were able to find some type of balance. I think a lot of people don't necessarily either know how to do time management or they just simply won't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not one of those people, I think, because I am so like spirit led and go with the flow. And, I like to do my own thing as God calls me to do it. I like a little bit of flexibility, but I still have to have, like, I have certain days that I do my podcast. I have certain days that I try to sit down and edit and, certain days that I create content. Like I still leave freedom and flexibility in there and I don't hold myself to like this strict way of doing things, but there's
Mm-hmm.
still like in order. God is a God of order. So we can't be all over the place and think that we're going to be able to manage what it is that he puts on our plate. So I love how you talk about time management because I know, honey, if we didn't do something, our heads would just fall off because it's not easy. Like building a business is not easy. It's fun and it's exciting to launch the website and get on social
Right.
media and tell everybody, yeah, y'all, I'm a real boss. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to be able to build a brand successfully and keep your regular life going as well. So trust me,
Right.
time management, take points from Kierra. Okay, write that down. Time management.
Time management.
Yes.
I really think it's important too to kind of identify what type of person you are because
Mm-hmm.
you have type A, type B, you really have to understand who you are and how you best operate and in what environment you best operate in too.
Yeah.
That's important because if you're go with the flow, most creative at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, that's cool
Mhm.
with you, boo. Me, I need to hold myself accountable and I need to sit down and make a schedule. So this day
Yeah.
I am doing this and I have to make sure I get this done by the end of the weekend. But then also, I know that if I am not feeling too productive, but I know I got to get it done and I'm not getting it done in my house, I need to go find a coffee shop. I got to switch up my environment and make sure I stay focused on getting those tasks done because with me having limited time of working a 9 to 5, like I got to make the best of everything.
Absolutely. I love that. Know who you are. Know who you are and what you need to do in order to really create what you have to create for yourself. And you're right. Like some people may have to have something that's set in stone, and some people like, listen, I gotta know what gotta get done this week. Okay. As long as it's on the schedule for this week, it'll get done. So I love how you mentioned that. I know that with graphic design, you gotta be some type of creative, honey. And like we were talking about a little bit before I actually hit the button, hit the live button. I'm not one of those people that cannot like just create something from scratch. If I ain't got a template, it ain't getting done and it's gonna be janky and it's gonna be ugly. Okay. I am one of those people that I go look at other people's content and get some creative juice going, get some inspiration, and then try to craft my own thing and make it my own. But without that initial help, I cannot pull it out of my brain. So what are some ways that people can really tap into their own creative flow? Like I know for you, it's probably some type of setting or something like that. Like please give us all the tips and tricks so that way we can be way more creative.
For sure. So, pretty much for me, I'll start with I've always been creative. From as a child to now, I've always been creative and I'm a very visual person. So, sometimes I don't even know how to explain something to someone unless I can draw it out, draft something up on Canva, or show a photo. Um, a lot of the ways that I stay creative is, first of all, inspiration's everywhere, right? And if you're a constant wandering mind like me, you would look at something a little different than someone else will look at it. So when I'm driving around, I pay attention to the signage, the billboards, on social media, I pay attention to what other designers do, what the marketing look like for certain companies. And I'm like, I like how they layered this, or I like how they did this texture. I wonder if I can replicate something like that. And sometimes what I have my clients do when they book with me is I have them send me a reference photo. Once again, I'm a visual person. Sometimes it's very difficult for them, especially if they don't know the lingo or they're in the world, to convey what it is that they want. And since we're communicating 9 times out of 10 via email, I want to better understand them too. So having them send references to me helps me out. And if I feel that I need to get a little bit of inspiration, I'll go somewhere such as Pinterest. I love Pinterest. It has like endless results that you can find, and everybody has their own different style. And so I just like to look for something that might spark an idea. I'm like, okay, cool, let me try this out. And it ends up working.
Yes, I like that. Send a reference photo. I'm one of those people too. Like, I need that initial stimulation.
Mhm.
But I like how you talked about like you've always been creative. And I think for some people, I look a lot into like my human design chart and different things. And I know one of those things, like I have an ability to always use my voice. Like I can talk all damn day long if I want to about whatever excites me, right? Some
Mhm.
people, it's just ingrained in how God created them to show up a certain
Mhm.
type of way. And I think for us that may struggle to come into like that creative space is like you said, you understood, like even though that's how you are, you still understand what you need to get it going. And I
Mhm.
think people just need to like play around a little bit. Put yourself in whatever setting that you need to be in. When is the last time that you looked at something like, ooh, that sparked an idea for me? That's how you're going to get your creative juice going. Some people need to, have their desk set up a certain way and light the candle and, do
Mhm.
all the
Set
things.
the mood.
Yeah, whatever it is. But like, what is that thing for you? And how can you constantly put yourself in that space? So I love how you're a visual person. I'm like that too. Like I'm a visual learner, or I
Mhm.
like to like listen to different things too to kind of
Mhm.
get going. Like if I want to prepare a speech or I'm teaching a workshop, I'll go listen to other people that I really like what they're talking about, and I'll listen to certain sermons and things like that, really just to see what God is putting on my spirit, and then it'll just like pour out of me. But if I was to sit there and just try to write it from scratch, 9 times out of 10, if I haven't meditated and prayed that morning, it ain't coming
It
out.
ain't happening.
It's not happening at all. One of the things that I love about your business is it's a done for you service, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I can go on Canva all day long and create my own stuff. But sometimes, to be honest, like I mentioned before, I just quite honestly just don't feel like it. I don't want to, and it's exhausting. Like you told me, well, sometimes time is a little short too. But I know for some people, like no matter how hard they try, they just not going to get it, and that's okay. I want people to
Mhm.
stop beating themselves up, feeling like you got to be the best, Canva person in the world in order to build your brand. Like stop struggling, sis, and get you some help. So I think it's important that people outsource. And I think one of the biggest obstacles that people come up across is like, oh, they can't afford it, or they're going from 0 to 100, and maybe they're trying to work with someone that has like a full agency, and they're doing all of these different aspects of marketing, and it's simply not in the price point or the budget or something that they even need. And the thing that I really love about you is you make it really, really easy for people just to get going and to not make excuses for having janky or inconsistent branding. So if you can't do it yourself, honey, please, please outsource. But I really want to hear from you. Like, why do you think entrepreneurs should outsource if they really struggle to create their own content?
Well, first of all, I would like to assume that most people listening are CEOs, and we all identify with the struggle of wearing multiple hats. Sometimes we can't do it all. It might become overwhelming. We might not have that proper time, especially if there are mompreneurs or entrepreneurs that work 9 to 5. Like time is very limited, and so we have this desire of building a team or wanting a dream team so you can focus more on the ins and outs of the business itself and don't have to worry about the marketing. Well, that's pretty much where I come into play. I can take care of those things for you. Um, Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, right? And I actually made a post recently. It was a reel, and I said, just because you can do it does not mean you should. And what I mean by that is everybody has the ability to make a Canva account and throw something together. But just because you could do that, you shouldn't do it because you don't have the knowledge or the proper tools to represent your brand in the way that it should be represented.
Come on now. Come on, Kierra. Honey.
So, although you can, it doesn't mean that you should. Now, I do understand that everybody does not have, a large budget, and that's okay. But at least start with something small and, build up to it until you can invest more into it. And then once you first start out, no, you don't have the funds to do, a couple $1,000 packages and whatnot. Have you even sat down and understood what branding means, or understand like what your audience is, or have like a full knowledge of what does your brand look like? Inside and out, what does your brand look like? Are you confident that you want to stick with this? I would be pissed if I paid thousands of dollars for some branding that I'm just going to end up changing a little bit down the road. And one thing that I want to encourage people to do is do research for your graphic designers. If you book with me, anyone else, it really doesn't matter to me. What's important is that you find someone that works best with you, knows how to best represent your brand and convey that message across with all of your graphics, but someone who's also going to give you end result quality. Yeah. There are so many graphic designers out here, and no shade, like they're doing their thing, they're running their hustle, they're still learning too. We're still learning too. I am still learning every day. But logos with no transparent files, or logos that are not high quality res, like those are the little issues that people sometimes tend to overpay for, and then that's like the result that they get, and then you have to start over again. Like, just do it correctly in the beginning, and that'll be less headache later on down the road.
Yes, I definitely agree. I just talked about this now. I think maybe it hasn't been released yet, but I think on maybe the last episode that I recorded, it was just like, do you understand the fundamentals of branding? And I've been doing this 14 years, honey. So even though I know I still look 25, okay, I have been for a very long time. And I did not understand the fundamentals of what it takes to build a brand. Like, it was just, I got a cute name. I like the name. Let me go ahead and get a logo made. Whatever color just flies out my butt, that's what I'm going to roll with. I do believe that because of the profession that I'm in, like, because I am a coach and everything like that, I have a little bit more freedom and flexibility to kind of shake things up and do whatever. I'll probably change my branding 100 times over. And I do believe that it's okay for people to pivot also. But now, because I understand that foundational work that needs to be done, my brand can elevate in a way that makes sense. And I'm not just throwing it together and it doesn't resonate with the people that I'm actually trying to sell my services or my products to. So I think people need to understand that, yes, it looks pretty to have all the things. Like, if you go to Kierra and you're like, okay, I get the website banner made and I get, the Instagram content made, that's wonderful. It's going to look great. But like, the thing that I can appreciate about you is that you understand that it's more to it than that. So like, working with you is not like, let's just slap it together, boom, I'm gonna take your money and it's gone. It's like, no, I got real questions for you, sis.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm gonna have some follow-up questions. I'm gonna give you my professional opinion, and I will tell you why I think you should go this direction. If you booked me multiple times and then all of a sudden you're completely changing gears, I'm gonna have some questions. Why are we not staying consistent? Are we changing something? Like, I think it's also because people see trends, right? And they're like, ooh, and on and over that. It's like, we can still apply the goodness of whatever is going on in this trend, but match it to your brand.
Yeah. Like the Barbie thing that you did. I thought that was super fly too.
Thank you. It was so cute. One of my clients came up with that idea and I was like, I like where we're going with this. Let me take it and run. And that's another way that I ended up, sparking creativity. When you have conversations with people, when you're just driving down the road or walking, like, there's inspiration everywhere all around. And I feel like it sparks something different depending on what your thing is. For me, my thing is graphic design. So I don't know. No, it's really cool. It's a really great job. I love working with people, and I don't really expect people to come to me with all the knowledge, right? But we're gonna have conversations, and I'm gonna hopefully the goal is to not only give you good quality graphics that represent your brand, but to also give you like a little bit of knowledge, some little confidence, in what it is that you're doing and what we should do next time you come back to me. What is it that we're gonna build on top of? And then, like I say, I'm not gonna hog you. Everybody's not for everybody. You don't have to keep coming back to me, but I want to make sure that you still have the tools or the things that you need to know moving forward.
Yes, yes, I definitely agree. So know what you need, people. Don't just go make the logo and go on Wix or go on Squarespace or Shopify, start throwing everything together. Understand the fundamentals and then start bringing in those visual elements. So I think that's super, super dope. I am very excited to have Kierra here. And if you are inside of the Six Figure Club, honey, I have a special thing because we do all things content along with building your business from the inside out, doing the healing work and all of the strategies and stuff. But for the content portion, I have asked Miss Kierra, honey, to do some graphic design for the women that are inside of the Six Figure Club. So I'm excited about that. And if anybody joins in the future, look, I'm not one to not be working with the same person. So you might as well get ready. Kierra will be doing things together for you. I like people that know what they're doing, that are amazing at what they do. And I don't need to flop around. Okay. So I'm excited to have her kind of on the team, but not on the team. Okay. But a part of the club as far as the graphic design goes. But I do know that for the people that are not inside of the Six Figure Club, you have a special little promotion just for the listeners going on. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So I am offering 20% off of all services that I have. Offer code is BANDB, BANDB 20. You can use that at checkout for whatever service and you'll get 20% off. It's valid until the end of the year. Just to give you a little bit of idea of what it is that I do logo development. I do e-flyers, motion graphics, video editing. I even have consultation calls where we can talk about content creation. We can talk about what it is that you need to do to build your branding or to better understand what direction you need to go to for your branding. I also do website design, email marketing campaigns, just a little bit of everything.
Yes, yes. She is the bomb.com, y'all. Y'all know I am a stickler for good branding. Like, I'm not one of those people, like, if I see something and it's ugly, it ain't, I wouldn't waste my time, y'all. And if you go look right now, you can look inside of the description for if you're watching this live right now, and I have her Instagram there. So go click her Instagram, go check out some of the stuff that she's done. I'm telling you, she is worth it. I will also make sure that when we get off, I'm going to put that discount code down in the comments. So that way you guys can get started with doing your branding. You have until the end of the year. Treat yourself to something that you need for your business. So that way your branding can be consistent and it can be elevated. It's time. I don't want to go into 2024 without a brand that represents everything that God is going to do through me. So I suggest that you hit up my girl Kierra and get you some stuff done. All right. This is period. Okay. This has been so good. I just think it's really, really important that people get the support. So this is why I try to find amazing people like Kierra to come on and give you guys some guidance, some knowledge on how you can build your six-figure brand, your six-figure business. I do believe that God has called us individually to our own lanes to shake some stuff up. And in 2024, I'm going hard or I'm going home, and I hope y'all are coming with me. I would love to have Kierra back again on another episode. So y'all want to see her, y'all better go follow her and tell her to come on back, okay? This has been phenomenal. I thank you so much for your time, Kierra.
Thank you.
I look forward to having you back, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.